In the silent chambers of an emperor's mind, amidst the crushing weight of an empire, a war-torn frontier, and the relentless march of time, lay a struggle familiar to us all. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-king, bore the unparalleled burdens of power, duty, and mortality. Yet his enduring legacy, preserved in the pages of his personal journal Meditations, offers not a blueprint for ruling, but a profound roadmap for navigating the tumultuous landscape of the inner self. His wisdom, forged in the crucible of immense pressure and personal grief, speaks to the very heart of human anxiety, a timeless whisper across millennia, beckoning us to find stillness in a chaotic world. Imagine the solitude of a man who commanded legions yet wrestled his deepest fears in the quiet of his tent. Marcus Aurelius, at the zenith of worldly power, understood intimately the pervasive grip of anxiety. It was not born of weakness, but of the very conditions of existence, the relentless demands of governance, the betrayals of subordinates, the plague sweeping through his empire, the ever-present threat of barbarian incursions, and the fragility of his own life. He knew that the external grandeur of his position offered no shield against the internal turmoil of a questioning mind. For Marcus, anxiety was a constant companion, demanding not eradication but understanding. He understood that true peace could not be found in conquest or decree, but only within the unyielding fortress of his own mind, his inner citadel. The cornerstone of Marcus Aurelius's approach to anxiety, echoing the teachings of Epictetus, lies in a fundamental distinction: what is within our control and what is not. Most of our anxiety, Marcus observed, stems from a misguided attempt to control externals, the opinions of others, the outcome of events, the actions of fate, even the health of our own bodies beyond our diligent care. Epictetus, in his Discourses, taught that only our judgments, our desires, our aversions, and our actions are truly ours. Everything else, wealth, reputation, health, death, is an external, a thing indifferent to our moral character. Marcus internalized this, understanding that true freedom from anxiety begins with rigorously examining where we place our focus. To fret over what lies outside this circle of control is to surrender our tranquility to the caprice of the world. It is not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about events. This profound insight, championed by Marcus, forms the bedrock of Stoic psychology. A barbarian invasion is an external fact. The fear, the panic, the overwhelming sense of dread, these are products of our mind's interpretation, our narrative about what the invasion means for us. Marcus would counsel us to strip away the judgments, to see things simply as they are, without the overlay of emotional opinion. If a situation presents itself, our first duty is to scrutinize our reaction. Is the distress inherent in the event, or is it a projection of our own fears, our own desires for things to be otherwise? This relentless self-examination, this disciplined passing of objective reality from subjective interpretation, is where true mental freedom begins. Anxiety often thrives on our desperate attempts to cling to what is fleeting, to resist the relentless current of change. Marcus Aurelius, contemplating the brevity of life and the ceaseless flow of existence, understood that clinging creates suffering. Empires rise and fall, bodies decay, reputations fade, and even the most beloved faces eventually become dust. This awareness, far from being morbid, was a source of profound tranquility for him. By acknowledging the impermanence of all things, including our own lives and fears, we loosen anxiety's grip. What is the use of fretting over a tomorrow that will inevitably become today, only to vanish into yesterday? The present moment is the only one we truly possess, and even it is but a fleeting flicker in the infinite river of time. To truly conquer anxiety, Marcus taught, one must not merely accept fate, but embrace it with a profound love, Amor Fati. This is not a passive resignation, but an active alignment with the universe's unfolding. Every setback, every challenge, every unexpected turn is not an obstacle to be bemoaned, but an opportunity, a material for virtue. The Stoics believed in a rational, ordered cosmos. Therefore, whatever happens, happens for a reason within that grand design. To resist it is to resist the very fabric of existence. Instead, Marcus would urge us to meet what comes with an open mind and a strong heart, transforming perceived misfortune into fuel for growth, accepting it not just as necessary but as good, as precisely what was meant to be. For Marcus Aurelius, purpose was a potent antidote to debilitating anxiety. He understood that idleness and a lack of direction often leave the mind vulnerable to its own darkest imaginings. His days were not his own. They were a ceaseless dedication to duty, to serving humanity. He did not seek to escape the world's troubles, but to engage with them virtuously. By focusing on his responsibilities, whether as emperor, father, or philosopher, he anchored himself in meaningful action. Seneca, in his letters, often reminds us that living for others, acting with justice and benevolence, provides a robust framework against the self-centered nature of anxiety. To lose oneself in a worthy cause is to find a powerful defense against the anxieties that swirl around the unmoored self. When overwhelmed by the petty dramas and looming anxieties of daily life, Marcus would ascend to a view from above. He would mentally transport himself to a cosmic vantage point, observing the vastness of the universe, the endless sweep of time, and the insignificance of his own troubles within that grand tapestry. From this perspective, the clamor of the marketplace, the intrigues of the court, even the dread of a looming battle, all shrink to their true minute proportions. This practice, advocated by Epictetus and widely adopted by Marcus, serves to deflate the ego's inflated sense of self-importance and the disproportionate weight we assign to our immediate concerns. It reminds us that we are but a tiny, temporary part of an enormous eternal whole, and in that humility, a profound quietude can be found. Unlike modern sensibilities that often shy away from negative thoughts, the Stoics actively engaged in Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of evils. Marcus, like Seneca before him, would consciously contemplate potential misfortunes, illness, loss, poverty, death, public disgrace. This was not an act of morbid self-torture, but a powerful prophylactic against anxiety. By mentally rehearsing the worst-case scenarios, by imagining himself stripped of comfort and status, he inoculated his mind against their shock. When adversity inevitably struck, it was no longer an unforeseen catastrophe, but a familiar challenge for which he had already prepared himself mentally. Seneca, in his letters to Lucilius, powerfully articulated this, knowing that the mind forearmed cannot be truly surprised or overwhelmed. Many things that cause us anxiety are indifferent to nature. Illness, poverty, slander, even death itself. They are not inherently good or bad. They simply are. It is our judgment, our emotional reaction, that imbues them with positive or negative valence. Marcus constantly reminded himself that these externals have no power over his inner character, his proheresis, his moral choice. A broken leg is a physical ailment. The suffering that arises from it is often a mental construction, a rebellion against what is. By seeing these externals for what they are, raw material for our virtue, opportunities to exercise resilience, patience, and courage, we dismantle their power to generate anxiety. They become tests, not tyrants. Ultimately, Marcus Aurelius sought to cultivate an inner citadel, a fortified sanctuary of the mind that no external force could breach. This citadel is built upon reason, virtue, and an unshakable understanding of what truly matters. It is a place where one is self-sufficient, drawing strength not from fleeting pleasures or external validations, but from an unwavering commitment to one's principles, justice, temperance, courage, wisdom. When the storms of the world rage, when anxiety threatens to overwhelm, the Stoic retreat is not one of escapism, but of intentional return to this inner core. Here, in the quiet strength of reasoned judgment and virtuous action, Marcus found his peace. This is the ultimate lesson. The battle against anxiety is won not on the external field, but within the sovereign territory of the self. To hear Marcus Aurelius speak across the centuries is not to find solace in comforting platitudes, but in the rigorous, often stark, truth of self-confrontation. His message about anxiety is not one of easy remedies, but of profound, lifelong practice. It is the discipline of discerning what is ours from what is not, of stripping away the judgments that poison our peace, of embracing the fleeting nature of all things, and of finding purpose in duty. It is the wisdom of Amor Fati, of loving all that unfolds, and the strength to build an unconquerable inner citadel. The anxieties we face today, though manifested in new forms, are the same ancient fears Marcus battled. His meditations are not a cure, but a training manual for the soul, a guide to becoming truly free within, regardless of the chaos without. In a world increasingly prone to unease, the Emperor's solitary wisdom offers a path, not to escape suffering, but to transform it into the very material of our virtue, forging a tranquility that no external storm can ever truly shatter.